Alrighty, y'all. Hello. They say ignorance is bliss. Isn't that right? Well, we're getting an overdose of ignorance today, so buckle up. It's going to be a wild one. As an American, if a pickpocket or thief in Rome tries to steal my backpack or wallet on the street, am I allowed to kick their ass? All right. Well, started out with a banger, right? Look, I'm a little bit split on this one. Let's be real. Let's be real with this one, okay? Pickpockets, thieves in general, kids out there, cover your ears. Them, right? No one likes a thief. As far as I'm concerned, if you're stealing other people's things, you're obviously a bottom tier person to begin with. Most people aren't going to have sympathy for people that are thieves, especially pickpockets, right? They are usually very calculated. Sometimes there are multiple people. They coordinate and they try to trick people. So screw them, right? So I kind of understand a sentiment, honestly, of someone wanting to be like, can I kick their ass if they're literally got their hand on my wallet or my possessions and trying to steal them, or they do steal them? I get it, right? You're frustrated. No one wants to be stolen from. Now, this is funny because in typical American kind of defaultism fashion, right? They say, as an American, if I pickpocket, blah, blah. As if they have a different set of standards if they're pickpocketed versus if someone from any other country is pickpocketed. So that's, I think, why that's featured here. It's kind of funny. And as for if in Rome they're allowed to kick their ass, well, I'm not really sure. I mean, you're probably allowed to make a fuss about it, to yell. Maybe you can make chase and get your stuff back. I don't know. That's your call. I don't really know the law. Maybe you guys want to fill me in on that. I'm going to guess kicking someone's ass might not be a very clean way to do things, right? It might be some troublesome and dangerous scenarios, but who knows? I've seen a thread before where many Americans were like, if someone tries to pickpocket me, I'll do this or that. The whole point of pickpocketing is that you do not notice until 5 or 10 minutes later when you try to get your wallet. Well, that's the thing, right? Of course, right? If they pickpocket successfully, they won't notice, and then they're not going to be able to kick someone's butt because they won't know who did it. Of course, that's not always the case. A lot of people, I feel like, maybe compared to 30 years ago, like a lot more people know that this can be a thing really anywhere, and especially in tourist cities. So they might be more aware. This is like the third comment I've read. People kind of on the American side, though, right? And this is what I'm saying. It might be worded funny or whatever, but like, dude, screw pickpocketers, right? No one likes that stuff. It's going to be my Balkan side talking, but I'm actually with the Americans on this one. Zero tolerance for pickpockets. Let's include those scammers that force souvenirs into your hand and corner your demanding payment. This has happened to me even in America. This happens in Chicago a lot. If you're at like a festival, some weirdo will come up to you and just, there you are. Like they interrupt your stride of walking. Very rude and sketchy. No manners or social awareness whatsoever, right? They know they're being an annoying prick, and they just do it anyway. So I've seen this one done, and it's very annoying. When this has happened to me, I don't even grab it. They try to force it in my hand, but I just keep my hand limp, and it falls to the ground. They're the ones littering. Like, it's your problem. You can't force me to grab something. You're definitely not going to force anyone to demand to buy something that you just shoved into their hand. Like, what kind of... Some criminals are just beyond stupid. The moment someone aggressively invades my space to either steal or extort, my kindness and tolerance are out the window. Honestly, I agree. This isn't me acting tough or wanting to beat someone up for my ego. I have actually faced situations where I've had to push someone away and alert security. Same. That's what I'm saying. You have to be assertive because some of these thieves are just ruthless, and they have to be... on a massive scale, they have to be rejected over and over again so they get out of this shit, so they know it doesn't work. If people are too nice to thieves, they just keep doing it, and they're going to take advantage of people that just don't deserve it. And then, long story short, an Italian actually weighs in on this and saying, yes, you're allowed to physically stop them, even get into an altercation, because a pickpocket has a history of doing this. More than likely, they can't really go to the police. They're going to get in trouble. And if a policeman is in the area, they might intervene and stop it, but they're not going to prosecute the person that's literally getting robbed. So there's some insight from the source right there. Now, this next one I don't agree with. This is 1,000,000,000% screaming eagle American ignorance here. Take a look. Brace yourself. I warned you. Going to Europe is like stepping back into 2010s fashion. I always say it looks like they got their clothes from a Walgreens or CVS. First of all, what? Second of all, yeah, if you don't know, which you probably don't know, Walgreens or CVS are drugstores, like pharmaceutical stores. Now, of course, here in the U.S., pharmacies are full on like mini grocery stores. So they have like regular supermarket stuff, and they have random odds and ends. And of course, they have medicine and stuff, right? And a pharmacist on hand. So it's because they take home a third of what we do because of their taxes, their free social services. This one is hilarious. How many times do I have to explain this? I'm an American. I'm in America. I earn money in America. I pay a third of my income, just about, like just under, to taxes. Now, the difference is I don't feel like I get anything in return. Magically, my money disappears, and then that's it. It's just, I still have to pay for everything else, right? I don't get anything back for it. Considering 3 out of the 4 world capitals of fashion, Paris, Milano, London, and New York. So obviously New York, USA, but everywhere else, literally in Europe. The cope in the comments is hilarious. And people, this is the funny part too, as an American, like obviously there's so many people here. There's definitely lots of different fashion, right? But I mean, unfortunately, I'd say, really nicely dressed, futuristic, fashion forward thinking is rare here. It exists, of course, but it is on the rarer side. Whereas this comment right here is more accurate. Ever visited the U.S.? I went to rural Iowa for a few weeks years ago, and the People Walmart meme is real, unfortunately. That's the thing, right? You go to a store here, most people are not going to be dressed to impress. So saying that we're all dressed the best and people in Europe are decades behind. Yeah, not a good take. Americans are actually the best tourists. They spend big money, tip everyone, are very friendly, and rarely blow themselves up. Oof. Okay. Well, I guess that's true. Y'all have to weigh in on this, right? I can't really weigh in on this because I am an American, right? So how would I know who's the best tourist in different European countries? I don't know about the best. I don't think they're probably the worst, but I don't think they're the best either. I think they're usually pretty loud, sometimes very clueless or in the way. But I suppose they're definitely not the worst. Certainly the best at drawing attention to themselves. Thankfully, very few Americans have a passport, so they're not qualified to invade Europe. That is true, although some Americans do have passports. That's right. Watch out. Snarky comment in the screenshot to be sure, and certainly Americans are not the best tourists or travelers, but in their defense, they're not always that bad. Brits in Spain are pretty brutal. I've heard that. I don't know anything about that, of course, but I've heard that seems to be a pretty common topic. And Chinese tourists seem to be completely oblivious when traveling in Europe and the Americas. Thank you for taking the heat off us. I'm not the type that wants to point at one country or region of people and act like they're all like this. I'm not one to do that, but I've seen too many videos of, like Chinese tourists are sometimes just terrible. I've seen them do really terrible stuff that I've never seen an American do. So, yeah, Americans aren't that bad, guys. This one is legendary. You can spot that before you even hear them. Cargo shorts, Indiana Jones Explorer shirt, backpack, baseball cap, sunglasses, binoculars, New Balance dad trainers. Why are you ripping on the dad outfit, man? Come on. Then they open their mouths and everything else is silenced by the 6,073 decibel conversation there. Nice nod to the Top Gear boys. Hell yeah. Another one of these that I just have to feature because I'm just so jealous of y'all in European countries. I think most of you do know. Some of you might not know how good it is sometimes because y'all just stay in shape better. It's no secret, right? And Americans notice that do travel. Americans, when they start walking 15 minutes a day instead of taking the car to go to the toilet. The real problem, right? 7 days in Europe, croissants and pasta, 3-hour dinners, no gym, Aperol spritz and wine, beach, gelato, desserts. Lost 5 pounds and never felt healthier. Yeah, that's the magic of actual real food and, getting exercise every day. Real food is a little hard to find here, but getting exercise is really all up to you. So come on, Americans. Let's do better. Well, look at this. The original post said how I feel about forgetting a word in my language, but I know it in English. Okay. Showed the Americana, right? The flag, New York. Okay. English being associated with the country of America for some reason. So that's already like, what the heck, right? It's in the name, guys. Come on. It's about time we officially change it to American. Oh my God. Downvoted into oblivion. No. And don't, like, I don't give our president any ideas. Yeah. English is not originated in the U.S., y'all. Sorry to burst your bubble. Come on. I'm an American. I know this. Like, let's get real. Honestly, there's nothing to add here, right? They lost the internet on that day. It's just, no. Now, this one is pretty out of touch. I think it's absolutely hilarious. Taking a look at a chart showing the 10 largest empires in world history. Now, of course, an American had to weigh in because they felt left out, right? They were mad that the U.S. wasn't on here, right? You have your big names like the British Empire, the Mongols, the Russian Empire, and so forth. No America in sight, but of course, we have the American commenter. Can never, ever leave those out. USA, if you include the moon. USA, if you include their ego. Oh, damn. And we're going to end it on one of the most out of touch, ignorant comments I've ever read in my whole life. We've been doing these episodes for a while, but this one might take the cake as I get something out of my eye. The thinnest and healthiest country in the world. Please brace yourself. Got to check this out. Oh, kind of like the nonsense maps people forward about obesity. According to American criteria for what is and isn't obese, about 75% of Europe, remember the country of Europe, would be obese. And if America used European standards, it would be the thinnest and healthiest country in the world. You can't compare a country to another if the means in which they record their data is completely different. According to America datasets, I am in a category of morbidly obese. If you saw me in person, you'd say, that guy is in really good shape. I'm sure. That's because in America, height and body weight are the only two factors that go into judgment of obesity, which means bodybuilders are considered morbidly obese by America data recording standards. Fitness women that go to the gym, are considered obese by these records also. While Reddit is flooded with propaganda about how America is the fattest country in the world, the fact is America is one of the most active gym-going countries in the world. Oh my goodness. Okay, first of all, to even play ball with this guy, I don't know. How do you know America is one of the most active gym-going countries in the world? Like, where's he getting that data? A lot of people go to the gym, sure. A lot of people don't, too. Most people I know, unfortunately, don't go to the gym. As you can see, they got downvoted, and let's go to the comments, because this is going to be a good one. Remember, we've pulled up charts before. America isn't in, the top 3 or something, right? But what's funny is I think they're actually still in the top 10 for obesity, and this was using world standards and world data, not using American data like they suggest. And America was still in the top 10. I think it was like 9th or 10th. Now, the countries ahead of it were small island nations, literally. That was all of them. And the only major, big population country in the top 10 was indeed the U.S. We've been through this. So saying we're one of the, fattest countries in the world is Seems to be true. And of course, contrary to the commenter, last time I looked, EU goes by height and weight also to get your BMI. So there you go. This is the best part, though. I'll take a gamble and say this guy's not in good shape. Yeah, that is exactly my thought as well. And here we go, the finisher. In both the US and Europe, the definition of morbid obesity, also known as a class 3 obesity, is generally the same. A BMI, body mass index, of 40 or higher, or a BMI of 35 or higher with obesity-related health complications. This definition is based on the World Health Organization's classification, which is widely adopted. There you go. Anyway, to round it out, I mean, there is some comments saying that there are flaws in the data just because someone that's really muscular or even a bodybuilder can somehow be classified as, overweight or obese in data sets. So I get that there's a flaw there, but that goes for kind of all the countries, not just one or the other. That's, of course, an issue, but the fact that they would use that still doesn't work because the amount of people that would be classified as obese who are actually bodybuilders are still extremely low. What percent of the U.S. population are bodybuilders, right? And they're not fat, they're muscular, but they're so muscular that they would be classified as having too high of a BMI. That's not going to be much, right? That's going to be less than 1% of the population, I imagine. Like, let's get real here. So it's just not a good argument. I'm going to cut it there. These are always fun, and these ones, these were in the stratosphere for the ignorance, right? I mean, I found some really, really crazy ones. I just couldn't believe it, right? I just couldn't. But we got through it. I thought it was actually pretty funny. I hope you enjoyed it. And I got some fun videos coming tomorrow, so please stay tuned for that. I hope you've been great. And I really do appreciate you watching. So I'll see you down in the comments. My name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. Until next time, y'all. Stay safe out there. I'll catch you later.